All right, let's talk about plugging in answers. Right before the quiz, you heard Michael talking about trying answers when you can plug them in, starting with the middle numbers. So in this option, C, 1 comma 4 and 2 comma 2 is not a bad choice. If you look at all the answers, 1 comma 4 shows up the most, as well as 3 comma 1. So it's worth it to start in the middle and try a 1 comma 4. If I plug in 1 comma 4, I see that that works. That is excellent. That is 11. 3 plus 8 is 11. So if I'm trying the middle answer, I also want to try 2 comma 2 and see if that equals 11. It turns out not to. That is 6 plus 4, which is 10. That is not 11. So now that I've tried 2 comma 2 and that middle answer, that is wrong, I'm going to cross that off. That means also my last answer can't be right. And I'm not super certain that it is this first answer. Why? Because 3 comma 1 is the other possible answer sitting out there. So I'm going to try 3 comma 1 and see that that does work. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So I'm going to answer D, 1 comma 4 and 3 comma 1. So let's keep going with this trying the middle number. So this one, compared to the last one, is actually in the correct order. It goes from 0 to 4, where the last one, it was kind of a mix-up. So it didn't really matter where I started. So this time I'm going to start with 2. So if I plug in 2, I get 2 over 3 squared, which is 2 ninths. Now I know that 2 ninths does not equal 1 ninth, which is what I was looking for. So I'm going to try and go maybe try 1 now. So let's try 1. 1 isn't a bad option. It's a little bit lower. So if this doesn't work and I'm kind of heading in the wrong direction, because 2 ninths is larger than 1 ninth, if 1 is still larger, I'm not even going to bother trying 0. I'm going to go to 3 instead. So let's plug in 1. And I get 1/3. Still not 1 ninth. Not to mention 1/3 is larger than 2 ninths. 1/3 is 3 ninths. So I'm going the wrong way. Let's try 3, because 0 clearly isn't going to work. If 1 didn't work, let's try 3. I plug that in, you get 3 over 3 cubed, which is 3 over 27. That reduces to 1 ninth, which equals 1 ninth. So I found my answer, and I knew I was heading the wrong way, because every time I tried a new number, I tried the middle first, try something smaller. It actually turned out to be further away from my answer. So then I skipped to the other side and try those answers. At this time, let's not just talk about plugging in answers, but let's talk about eliminating answers. So, reading the original question, which is, which response describes the line y equals 5x plus 18? 5x is the part of the equation I want to look at because in my answers it says slope of blank, either 5 or 18. And we know because of y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, 5 has to be my slope. So I'm going to get rid of the two 18s. Usually, not always, usually, if there is overwhelmingly one answer versus another, so in this case there are 3 slope of 5s and only 2 slope of 18s, the odds are pretty good that it's going to be the one with more choices, because they're assuming you're going to get at least that part right. Now this is not a guarantee, doesn't work every time, but if you really don't know the answer, it's not a bad way to eliminate answers. So I'm going to start in the middle again. I'm going to plug in 2 comma 38 and see what happens. So that means 38. Plug in 2 and I get 38 equals 28. That's not going to cut it. However, knowing that plugging in 2 gives me 28, I'm almost sure this one is going to be my answer. 28 equals 5 times 2 plus 18 is 28. That is true. So my answer is the second choice, slope of 5 through the point 2 comma 28. So question number 4 is a slightly different type of plug in the answer. The difference here is this is not immediately obvious that I should be trying to plug in, because the question is, what am I plugging it into? And really what you're plugging it into is this right here, half of a number. Half of a number, it's saying this might as well be x or your variable. So half of one of the answers available is going to be what we're talking about. So when I start, I'm going to start with 130 and take half of that, which is 75. And then it says if 52 is added to half that number, so I'm going to add 52 and see what I get. It doesn't look like I quite hit it. 127 is a little much, but at least I got the right idea. I am plugging it in. I'm looking for 107, so I'm going to keep going. I try 120. I know 120 isn't going to work because half 120 is 60. I don't care what that is added together. It's not going to end in a 7. It should be 107. So I try the last one, 110. Why am I trying that one? And I'm almost sure it's right, and I'm going to mark it before I even finish. And here's why. I know I'm heading in the right direction. I started with 127. I got 112. I'm getting closer to 107, which is what I wanted. So I'm almost positive that it's got to be 110, and it is. Question number 5 today deals with yet another hidden kind of plug-in answer question. So on the outset, it doesn't really look like this is going to be a plug-in, but I am going to use the answers. So I could solve this otherwise, but the answers are going to make it a lot easier. So it says we have 31 chairs in the room, so a total of 31, some with and without arms. If the room has 5 more armchairs than chairs without arms, how many armchairs does it contain? So it's a little tricky in the wording, so we have to read it very carefully. But we're going to start with the middle again, and I'm going to say 16. So since we're looking for the answer of how many armchairs, I'm going to say that there are 16 armchairs. And if there's 16 armchairs, it says that there's 5 more armchairs than those without arms. So I'm going to add 11 to that because that is 5 less than 16. So that would be without, and that would be with arms. Since I add that up and get 27, I know I'm not exactly correct. I need more chairs. So I'm not going to go to 13 after that. I'm going to go to 18. I need more. So 18 plus, I'm going to subtract 5 from that and get 13. So that gives me 13 without, 18 with. And hey, look at that. That's my 31. So I knew I had to go down my answers instead of up because I needed more total chairs than 27, and 18 gave me what I was looking for.